Right, a bit of an update on the 1490. As you can see, the engine's back in, and I've got the two halves put back together. The engine, that just needed boring out, so it's been bored to the maximum, so it's got plus 40 foul pistons in there and rings. The cranky just managed to polish that up and clean it, so that's good. And it's just a set of standard bearings in the for the crank and everything, so that's all good. I'll show you underneath. Yeah, so under here you can just about see, all the crank and everything is just polished up and everything. So I assembled, I put the crank and all the pistons and the oil pump and everything in before I put the engine back in here, just on a bench. It was a bit easier, and just left the timing cover off and the fuel pump and everything off, and just lifted it up on these studs with some eyes and just dropped it in, and that was fine. Then clutch, I didn't have to, that was basically brand new before the engine went, I presume, whoever had it before, so I was lucky there, so just refitted the clutch, put it back together. That was straightforwards. I'm at the stage now where just done the cylinder head, cleaned it up, had the valves out and grind them. They did take a bit of grinding because where the water's been in the exhaust side, it was very pitted around the seats where it was letting it in. They seem to be alright now, so I just need to finish cleaning it up. I've cleaned the surface up, ready to go on to the block. Fitted a new thermostat in there because the thermostat was missing. So that's the next step, and once I've got the head back on the engine, I want to put I haven't had the injectors reconditioned yet, they're just under there with all the other parts. What I want to do is just fit the head and fit the injectors in and all the other bits, what I need just to start it, is run it up and just make sure it's all okay before I start putting everything else back around it, and leave the steering pump off so I can run it, because if I run it with a steering pump on, it means I'd have to drop the cab on to connect all the pipes off, but I don't want to do that because I want to, while it's running, I just want to make sure all the hydraulics at the back is still working, because it's been stood. I don't know whether the valves in all the hydraulic control valves are stuck or anything like that, and just make sure the hydro shift's all working still as well before I drop the cab on. I've degreased it once and pressure washed it twice, but I'm going to give it another degrease just for paint, and I am going to paint it because it looks tidy where you can't see it. Like here, it's like basically brand new paint behind the fuel tanks and everything, but the bits you can see look a bit naff, so I'm going to give it a coat of paint. And the front axle, I think I'm just going to change the whole axle, rather than trying to rebuild these front kingpins and that, because they are quite badly worn. As you can see, there's a big gap there and there's play in that steering ram and things, so I think I'm just going to change the whole front thing. See if I know of one where I can get just to unbolt the bolster off the front and bolt it on there. Then I also need the bracket for the back here for the hydraulics, because this one down here has been adapted to have that in it, and it's not right. So I need a new one of those brackets, and then also I need this pipe here as well, with the correct fitting, one of these fittings on it, to fit into that plate which just bolts on here. Yes, that's where I'm at the minute, and I'll try and, if I do get it running today, I'll try and video that starting up and everything. So yeah.